5 different guitar sounds, and I'm going to demonstrate all 5 of those without the backing track when the song is over. Right now I'm playing nothing, and silence itself is an important tool as part of the musician's sonic palette, because you always need to remember to do what's right for the song, and sometimes playing nothing is the most important thing you can do. So that is my playthrough for Phil Wickham's This Is Amazing Grace in the key of B flat, which is the original recorded key of the album. Of course, you can transpose it to whatever key is going to work right in your situation. And now I'm going to demonstrate the 5 different snapshots that are part of this Helix preset, so you can hear what each of the guitar tones sounds like by itself, and you can also hear a little bit more of what each of the guitar parts sound like by themselves if you're trying to figure out how to play this tune. First, a note about my guitar: it does have dual humbuckers, but I have the tone control pulled up. That puts it in a little bit more of a coil split type of configuration, which gives it a bit of a sharper sound. The tone also works great on a humbucker-equipped guitar. So, the first snapshot I'll show you is what I think of as the core sound of the preset. It's used for all of the choruses and for that intro riff, that jangly intro riff. So that intro riff sounds like this. So that's what the intro riff sounds like. It's used at the intro, it's used for the outro, and it happens once or twice during the song as well. I noted that this tone is also used for the choruses, so I'll play that for you now as well. This is, again, snapshot 1, the core tone, and the choruses sound kind of like this. The next snapshot I'll show you is a clean tone that's used for the rhythm of verse 1. In the middle of verse 1, there's a little lyrical break, and at the end of verse 1, before going into a chorus, there's a little, what I think of as a little stinger lick, and that uses a snapshot all of its own, and it ends up sounding like this. So here's a little bit richer of a sound. It's kind of jumps out. It's the same basic clean sound as the verse, just with a little bit more of effects layering on top to help it sound a little bit special. For verse 2 on the album, many of the musicians continue doing similar or the same stuff as they do in verse 1, but there's a layered guitar on top which plays a heavily affected pitch-shifted riff over the rest of it. Now, if you're in a small group, you might not want to play this riff, but if you have enough musicians playing with you, you could really get away with throwing these special texture things in there. So what I'm doing is I'm playing one note at a time, and on the Helix, I'm using a diatonic pitch shifter to shift my one note up a third and layer that in. Then I'm using 4 or 5 pitch shifters in series and parallel to pitch both the root note as well as the third up and down an octave. And that ends up sounding like this for the song. The last snapshot I have to show off is a clean tone that's used only during the bridge. It has a very heavy delay on it, which you probably don't hear when I was playing along with the backing track, but it will sound a little bit too strong when I'm playing alone now. And if you listen real closely, you can hear I'm using the vintage digital delay there, and it has a little bit of degeneration with each of the repeats. Now, degeneration might sound bad, but I really like it on delays because each time the delay repeats and degenerates it, it helps it sit underneath the primary guitar signal so that my main signal is always the strongest thing. That fundamental first note that I play is always the strongest thing. So one of my favorite delays in the Helix is the Adriatic delay because you can really tune in a lot of degradation with each repeat. My second favorite delay is the Vintage Digital, which has a similar thing that you can do so that you can have your fundamental notes you're playing be strong, prominent, and clear, still get the flavor of those echoes, but have each echo be a little bit more dull so that it sits underneath right down in the mix. Well, there is my playthrough and tone for Phil Wickham's This Is Amazing Grace in B flat. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Check out my website and all the stuff I have there. See if there's anything you would like to grab or need. Otherwise, I'm going to see everybody in the next video.